Hello Knockouts, Tonya TKO here, and we're about to dive back into this Malik Yoba story. There are allegations coming out that he participated in child sex trafficking by taking advantage of underage youth. I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to be reading this for the first time with you all, so we're going to dive into that. As you know, I'm Tonya TKO, self-love specialist from TonyaTKO.com. I hope you learn how to love yourself and each other. Please forgive me. I am tired as a mug. I'm on the road. I've been driving for hours. You know, I live this RV life, so I'm out here, and I want to give a thanks to the people who tagged me in this. I don't know if they want to be mentioned or not. So I've gotten this twice from people, and I feel like it's important for me, even though I'm tired and I'm on the road and I'm getting ready to celebrate Labor Day and all of that. I felt it was important to come out and read this for you all. So please appreciate it, and let's have the conversation about what's really good in the hood. Surviving Malik Yoba. We had sex when I was just a teen. For all who applaud and salute Malik Yoba for revealing he is so-called trans attracted, understand that either because of deeper issues he has or because of society pushing him and others to deep, dark places, his admission to bring sexuality, oh God, I'm sorry, I'm tired, like I said, I'm sorry, let me go back. His admission to being sexually attracted to trans women is bound to open a Pandora's box for him. Not because the women are trans, but because many of the trans women he engaged in sexual exploration and exploitation with on 14th Street, Times Square, and elsewhere were minors, including myself. Let's go forward. Let's go forward. I started seeing him personally with my own two eyes cruising around the meatpacking district and village. Large black Jeep looking for trans femme sex workers. He preferred black trans girls, pretty slim girls, but would pick up a Latinx if she was put together and or looked mixed. That was close to 20 years ago, and I can still remember it like it was yesterday. I also remember the day a friend of mine said, real cool, like she was known to do, walk down the block, just go. He wants you. You always remember celebrity clients. It's like time slows down. You remember every detail, blood pounding. He was cute and polite. Don't get me wrong, but I'm sure he knew what he was doing was wrong. Okay. New York Undercover was still on TV. I remember living in group homes and being in institutions and giggling when he and the actor who played his partner would flash across the TV screen. Most group homes didn't have cable, so New York Undercover and all the other shows on the basic NY channels were staples. All right, listen. Some of the other kids could tell something was up. I knew they'd never believe my story anyway. New York's child sex abuse laws means Malik will have to face the music. Sorry to burst a lot of folks' bubbles. And I don't give a F who doesn't believe me or feels I'm trying to ride a wave. There's a trend of men of color being embraced by the queer community for liking trans women, despite overwhelming evidence of character flaws. Listen. Glaring signs of sex addiction, substance abuse, unchecked mental health issues, and inner demons are what drives men to the bungee jumping of sex, effing or sucking a trans person. That's not love, period. What Malik paid me to do as a 13, oh my goodness, as a 13 and 16-year-old wasn't love. His ignoring that I was clearly a child prostitute wasn't love. Paying for cheap thrills and secret orgasms, begging for unsafe, unprotected sex from a runaway trans teen while enjoying stardom as a successful artist and businessman, dot, 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 isn't love. Where was his love for trans women over the last 20 years? Where are his trans girlfriends? Something tells me I'm not the only one who got some dirt on this individual. And something also tells me that he didn't just up and decide to quote unquote come out. He was pushed. Careful not to make a fool of yourself supporting him and his message. I am sure I am not the only trans person who was a minor when Malik Yoba first quote unquote loved them. And then there was another person who came out. And she actually confirmed what it is that this young lady says. So her name is Janess Jay-Z, and she says, I second this. I was in my early 20s when I had him, and not only was he cheap, $200, he was a complete asshole to me. He was abrasive, rude, and there were many moments I felt scared with him. He also asked me at one point if I had any younger friends. So Mariah is not lying. Alright. So this is all that I know. This is the update. I wrote to the young lady who published the original post, and I'm waiting to hear back from her. I was also contacted by a young lady who I believe is trans, and she wants me to speak about this story. Look, what's done in the dark will come out in the light, and the chickens will come home to roost. I don't really have much to say about this particular situation at this point. These are still allegations, but this does go to show, you know, we never really truly know what a person's reason for coming forward is. We really don't know what it is that they've done in their past. Yeah, so you know what? She makes a great point. Where are his trans girlfriends? When he got married to a cisgender woman. Has he had trans girlfriends? I have seen on his Instagram page that he posts about trans rights and stuff. And so 20 years ago, you know what? My mind is all over the place. The person who was 20 and she's complaining about him being cheap, okay, you set the price, he pays the price. I mean, and then you're in your 20s, so look, people who have a product they're selling and people who are buying the product come together. But the 13 and 16-year-old, and then asking her if she has quote-unquote younger friends, begging for unprotected intercourse. How? My thing, she said she was a runaway. How did he know she was a runaway? Did she look 13 at the time? I watched this video the other day called Guess Her Age. And with makeup on, especially how we're fooled by the cosmetic industry to not really know, like, the look of a 15-year-old girl is the look that we're using to be a woman of 20 to 30 years old. It's unbelievable. In the fashion industry, Victoria's Secret, they're using 15-year-old girls. Foxy Brown was 15 when she came out. So it's like, did he know? I mean, he knew that he was supporting prostitution. And you know what the thing about it is, I think a lot of people, I'm going to say these two things and then I'm going to jump out of here. I think a lot of people don't really take into account that they are supporting an industry that fuels people being trafficked into the sex game. Also, I've heard that the number of trans sex workers is exorbitantly high because there aren't many options for gainful employment for trans women, especially trans women that cannot pass. You know, so they have this feeling on the inside that they are in the wrong biology, and they do what it is that they can to be able to express that femaleness, but they can't pass, they don't get jobs, they're looked at as freaks, and sex working is really the only way that they can make money. Some of them were thrown out of their homes. Some, the home environment became so toxic that they had to run away and leave, you know. And then while they're out there, there's so much victimization. Like, you'd be surprised at the number of trans men who are raped by men because they still have a vagina or whatnot. You know, we live in some very troubling times, and I'm glad that these things are coming up for conversation. I applaud Malik Yoba for wanting to be a voice and an advocate for the trans community. I'm concerned about his checkered past and how he may have been one of the people feeding off of the community in an unhealthy way. So there's a lot going on over here. There's a lot going on. And I want us to begin to continue to have the conversation. Even though I made the video with Malik Yoba in it, expressing what it is that he expressed, my main objective is the humanifying of trans people, of starting a conversation to, even if it's not something that we would want to do, or even if it's not something that we would want to quote unquote support, that we still have respect for another person's human rights. So that's the whole point right there. And when it comes to this with the child sex trafficking, I am interested in seeing how this is going to unfold for Malik. It's such a shame that we can't openly live our truth. It's such a shame that we have people who are feeding and leeching off of one another. It's such a shame. I'm happy all of this stuff is coming up. It feels like it feels like like we're in crisis right now because there's so much coming up for healing. So let's continue to have the conversations. I will see you in the comments. Tonya TKO, I'm out. Peace.